Alright, decided I was gonna have another rant about, I don't know, whatever. I'll just do a continuation of the prior series, and, I'm gonna keep this one well under 10 minutes, because I made that mistake last time, so let's just jump into it. Anyways, I don't know, should I take it off? Take it off? Keep it on? Take it off? I don't know. I'll take it off. Whatever. So, I decided today I was just gonna, talk about some other random shit. Let's talk a little bit about, I don't know, fucking social destabilization. See, this is kind of what happens when societies, I guess if you want to call, fall into decadence. Not trying to quote Genghis Khan here, or Genghis Khan, or Chinggis Khan, or however you want to pronounce that name, wherever you're from in the world. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna talk a little about Genghis Khan here. He talks about how, when a society falls into decadence, they kind of start fucking each other over. And it's true. Because they kind of have these traditions, and they're just kind of desperately clinging on to these traditions that kind of no longer work for them. It just doesn't work. And they're kind of, in a way, they're unwilling to adapt. It's like, well, okay, the government, I'll give you an example, right? They're a society, and the society's on decline, and the government in this society clearly fucking sucks. They don't get shit done. They don't fucking do anything. But people, wholeheartedly support them. Oh yeah, we gotta hold on to them. We gotta follow the laws. We gotta do all this and that. And it's like, that's fine, dude. That's fine if you want to follow the laws, but it's like, dude, it's just not working anymore. You're gonna have to replace this government. And you see this especially more so nowadays, where you kind of have this conflict, because nowadays, people are not having as many children. Simple fact, right? You walk around, how often do you see just, fucking lines, or, 5 or 6 pregnant women just walking in line? I don't see that shit anymore now, no. I mean, even when I went to high school, when I was going to high school, I saw a bunch of women that were pregnant. That's kind of went, and I guess a less uppity part of town. A more of a, I guess, just different part of town. And looking back, it was actually kind of nice going to that school, but whatever. So, as time goes on, you sort of have this system, if you will, it's kind of aged, and it's just going stale. It's not aging well. It's just getting stale. And let it be stale. Just let it disappear into some, part of history. Okay, you got these nice buildings, these nice government documents and all that. Let them stay. I don't know, put them underground somewhere. Have a mud flood. I don't know, have your pillars and temple just stand there. And some historian will come around a couple hundred years, or even 1,000 years later, maybe even 3,000 years later, and be like, oh my God, what a nice piece of history. And that'll be it. Let's learn from it and move on. But no, what you have is a system where people sort of want to hold on to these traditions and customs that just don't work. So here in the United States, there's a lot of inflation. Anyone that lives here knows that. Driving a big fucking, I don't know, F-250, F-350 in, some really suburban neighborhood where, everything is 5 miles apart in opposite directions, it's not going to work. It's not feasible. Maybe, 10 years ago, maybe even 5 or 8 years ago, when there was less inflation and, the average person could afford that. Nowadays, it's just not feasible. But yet, there's still so many people that want to hold on to this. And the same thing when it comes to government regulations and all that. So I worked at quite a few stores doing food service and for stocking and, removing food. Food that was quote-unquote expired. And what I mean by quote-unquote expired, meaning it was still sitting under the heat lamp the entire time. They take the food, they cook it, or really, to be honest, they just reheat it, and they stick it under the heat lamp. And so when it's expired, they pull it off the heat lamp, and you have to throw it away. You cannot, like, it's pretty much illegal for you to just, like, sneak in your pocket or eat it. Cannot eat it at all. Like, you can throw it in the trash can. Sure, you can throw it in the garbage, and you can, like, sneak behind the back and, you know, I guess scavenge it, if you will. And mind you, a lot of this food is still pretty good. Now, I've been to some stores. Usually they're in, like, kind of the less, I guess, the more, if you will, awakened parts of town. And when I mean awakened, I mean, like, people that have kind of, you know, had their ups and downs from, you know, living large to, you know, coming down low and then back and forth. Particularly a lot of us, you know, in the military community, veterans, all that, you know. You go from, you know, being in this $1 trillion military with budgets and, you know, I remember this little story where it's fucking, it's a little anecdote, you know, guy lost his fucking iPhone. It's like, it was a high value, high dollar item, and decided to shake down the entire fucking battalion, and we all had, like, our leftover MREs, because, you know, there was the guys that liked the cheese, and I was one of the guys that liked the peanut butter packets. So guys that got the peanut butter packets and didn't like them, I just fucking took them. It's like, hey, here you go. Same thing with, you know, the MRE packets and everything. A lot of guys just didn't like them and all that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna shove them in my little, you know, big ass fucking trouser pockets and shit. Even take those little peanut butter packs and, like, the coffee packets, put it way down, right next to the blousing bands. That's like, I mean, well, I mean, the new OCPs have them too. Okay, so whatever. ABU, OCP, ACU, whatever. They all got the little bottom, little mini pocket for your stuff way at the bottom, right next to your boots. We did that, right? That was it. Of course, you know, when we had to shake down the battalion and all that, wasn't the prettiest sight in the world what happened afterwards, but, you know, that's what we did. A lot of these guys, you know, we go from that to just fucking shit, homeless, fucking eating dog shit, sleeping outside. And, you know, like, for any sensible person at any other time in history, it'd be like, oh yeah, it's perfectly okay to sleep outside. Oh, hey, there's food. You know, it's still pretty edible. It still tastes good. It's, you know, I've eaten it 100 times before. I might as well eat it again. Now, that would be the sensible thing to do, right? I've eaten this 1,000 times before. I was okay. Tasted pretty good. I might as well eat this again. It smells nice. Tastes good. I'll do it again, right? Filled me up. Fair enough, right? Same thing with, you know, sleeping outside or sleeping in your car. Back then, it was perfectly normal to sleep in your car. I remember this one time, right? I was fucking up north somewhere, like northern Arizona. It was around Utah, Colorado, that little area. So, you know, didn't want to get a hotel for the night because, you know, I was kind of having to lay low for a little bit. And, well, you know, decided to go into the Walmart and fucking crash out in their bathroom. That's what I did. Like, that's just the way I did shit. Nowadays, like, you can't even find a place to crash out, dude. Like, if you find a place to rack out, no bullshit, cops gonna show up on your ass. At least here in Arizona. I know in some other states, you know, they're more or less lenient with it, but you gotta realize it's just very different nowadays. But you have people that want to hold on to these old traditions. Same thing with urban sprawl. They want to hold on to it because, you know, it worked back then, so why not keep doing it? It's not feasible nowadays. And if you look at a lot of black markets, it's the same thing. It doesn't make sense that why would you go through a black market and do all these risky things to get something that otherwise would just not be the harm. And of course, when you bring these subjects up, you're going to be walking on eggshells, right? You're going to be walking on eggshells. You're not going to have a clear argument. No, you're going to get cut off, yelled over. You know, fucking, it's going to turn into a shouting contest. But whatever. That'll be about it. I'm running out of time, so take care.